My name is Tommy, welcome back to the channel. It's time for a band-aid on my finger. I don't know how I cut my finger shaving, but I'm an adult. Anyway, today, on this week's episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship in Pathfinder 1st and 2nd Edition at the request of one of our very own Black Dragon disciples, today we'll be cracking open, as a matter of fact, Black Dragon Gaming's very first Pathfinder Society module, Year of the Stolen Storms, Unleashing the Untouchable, to talk about the Elemental Lord Ranginori. If you're liking what you're seeing, remember to like, subscribe, and ding that bell. Today, this episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship was brought to you in part by Wiffle Possum Productions. There you go, Idaho. We're finally talking about something that's kind of tertiarily Pathfinder Society related. Spoilers abound, kids. Let's dive in. So I won't go into this one in huge detail, really. I think these deserve their own video series, but there are in fact 4 elemental planes in 3.5M Pathfinder's universe. The plane of fire, plane of air, plane of water, and plane of earth. Again, we could talk about those all day. There's so much more going on, and then plane of air is big sky land, and plane of water is just under the sea. Suffice to say, right now, those elemental planes are ruled by elemental lords. All 4 of them being of evil alignment, all 4 of them having worked together to imprison the former elemental lords, the good ones. One could say presently they're all kind of places of elemental evil. Unleashing the Untouchable is a scenario whereupon we actually release one of those good elemental lords back into the wild. And after doing a little more reading on Pathfinder Society stuff, seeing how far out the scenarios take place in, things you see, things like that, maybe I do actually want to do a little PFS on the channel. Ranginori, known as the Duke of Thunder, is imprisoned in what's known as the Untouchable Opal. He is an immense, lion-headed snake made out of clouds with hundreds of little tiny feet and a crackling mane. Within the scenario, he is of course very happy to be released, but is not quite powerful enough to fully reassert himself over the plane of air. But once you let him out, that's basically his goals. Reassert his dominance and help all his friends out. And of course, that means he has no obedience, he has no boons. He certainly has yet to appear in 2nd edition, though he might. But hey, you know, we got that homebrew. Let's hit it. So as far as what we do have, Ranginori is neutral good. His domains are air, good, travel, and weather, with the subdomains cloud, exploration, storms, and wind. His favored weapon is the whip, and his symbol, well, I'm gonna assume a lion head with thunder and lightning, very, very frightening. Yeah, works for me. Anyway, everything here forward is homebrew. Got some boons, got some obediences, got some 2nd edition stuff. If you think you could do it better, put it in the comments. However, within Unleashing the Untouchable, you do get a lot of sweet boons from Ranginori. Sweet boons that I think we could stand to see a little more in less than organized play, so I will be borrowing from them to make these. In any case, Ranginori's obedience is a simple one. Crush a stone the size of your palm and scatter the remains into the winds. In return, you gain a pool of elemental might equal to half your hit dice plus your charisma. Let's start with the evangelist boons to see what that might mean. It's alter winds thrice a day, gusting sphere twice a day, or cloak of winds once a day, nail, meet, head. At 16th level, by spending a point from your pool of elemental might, much like you can after Ranginori hands you that at the end of the adventure to do effects just like these, you may grant yourself a +1 luck bonus on caster level checks to overcome spell resistance for every 4 hit dice you possess. You may spend all of your points as an immediate action when casting a spell against a target with spell resistance, but before you roll to penetrate that spell resistance, to instead automatically overcome the spell resistance. So one big overwhelming push once, or some incremental stuff throughout the day. And at 20th level, any spell you cast that does electricity damage automatically deals maximum damage. Exalted boons, it's True Strike thrice a day, Intensified Shocking Grasp twice a day, or Haste once a day. I think we all know who this boon path is for. At 16th level, by spending a point from your pool of elemental might, you may grant yourself a +1 luck bonus on attack rolls for every 4 hit dice you possess until the end of your turn. You may spend all of your points as a swift action to double that bonus, but if you do, it only applies the next time you roll to attack. At 20th level, any weapon you wield deals an additional 5d6 points of electricity damage per hit. Sentinel boons give you Cure Light Wounds, thrice a day with the wind, twice a day, or Call Lightning, once a day. At 16th level, by spending a point from your pool of Elemental Might, you may grant yourself 10 temporary hit points for every 5 hit dice you possess. You may spend all of your points as a swift action to instead be affected by a heal spell, with a caster level equaling your hit dice. At 20th level as a swift action, by spending all the points from your pool of Elemental Might, you may cause one ally to double any one bonus, such as enhancement or morale, they are currently affected by until the beginning of your next turn. Now, Ranginori is neutral good. I don't know how often it is that our paladins want to serve deities of the elemental planes, but certainly you could. Like the Imperial Lords, Demon Lords, so on and so forth, Ranginori would land somewhere in the upper 20s so far as CRs go. The evil Elemental Lord of Fire has stats. Hey, if one of y'all request her, we'll talk about her. If one of y'all patrons request her, we'll talk about her next week. But I digress. I think right now, Ranginori has a very, very simple, focused train of thought. He and his allies have been imprisoned by his enemies, so for the Paladin Code, for Ranginori, it's one tenant. Above all else, I will oppose those who have imprisoned the Elemental Lords of Good. There's a lot of imbalance that needs to be rebalanced. As for that Planar Adventures boon, how about immunity to electricity damage? Stand in the presence of your lord without getting fried. Seems good. In 2nd edition, of course, Ranginori is still neutral good. Owing to the fact that he is a creature of elemental air, I want to keep him closer to neutral, so I'll say his follower alignments are neutral good and neutral. His edicts are free the other good elemental lords, and his anathema aid the evil elemental lords. Like I said, it's war right now. As for his devotee benefits, his divine font is either to heal or harm, but harm instead does electricity damage. His divine skill is Plane of Air lore. His favorite weapon is the whip. His domains are air, travel, freedom, and protection, and the granted divine spells are Shocking Grasp at 1st, Lightning Bolt at 3rd, or Chain Lightning at 6th. One of the things this has shown me is that I think Pathfinder Society scenarios might be a little more interesting than I had previously thought. So far, the only reason I really haven't participated in my local PFS community is just that I don't really have the time. Turns out being a YouTuber who's still working a day job, who still has relationships and family and all that fun stuff means I'm basically constantly busy. And while I'm very appreciative that you guys out there have allowed me to do the cool thing, and I'll never not be grateful for that, truly, it does mean that squeezing in that extra time can be really hard. With that said, this has shown me that the Pathfinder Society modules are really, really interesting in and of the fact that you get little tiny microscopic glances at what's going on in the world of Pathfinder that we don't often talk about. For example, this out of nowhere elemental lord. Who even is this guy, right? I had no idea. I thought I was brewing from scratch today. Not quite. I think GMing for someone who worships Ranginori probably means, at least tertiarily, Ranginori would like you to help out with the cause. Would like you to help free his fellows and restore order in the elemental planes. That means getting ready to fight anything from earth elementals to fire elementals to all the other crazy stuff truly that exists in these planes. That's why we're not talking about it in depth right now, because again, that's a video unto itself. Certainly Ranginori is a deity I would enjoy role-playing at my tables. He is described as being a generous conversationalist in the module, noting that not all creatures look kindly on change, even if it's changed for the better. I guess I'm kind of getting some Mufasa vibes as I look at this scary blue lion. Remember who you are, and if you do, I will let you cast Shocking Grasp. It seems real cool. Worshipping a deity who is nothing but a certain elemental energy feels pretty cool to me. You guys know that druids are like my favorite thing ever. I'm GMing for a druid who worships Gazra. I'm in a party in a 3.5 game with a druid who worships Obed-Hai. But we all know that those druids aren't getting spells or any real benefit from worshipping these deities. Gazra has their place. Gazra is really interesting, but Ranginori just kind of really focuses in on that air and lightning and zappy stuff, while still maintaining a connection to the elemental planes that I think a lot of the deities that we normally associate with nature lack. Though really Ranginori's association with nature is an odd one in my opinion, because the nature of the plane of air is much different than the material plane, but I digress, friends. What do you guys think? Do I have a lot of Pathfinder Society fans in the audience? Let me know what your favorite scenarios are. Maybe I want to put my feet in this. I don't know. I don't know what the time frame would look like, but it would probably be super sweet. Again, if for no other reason than I get little teeny tiny bits of Pathfinder's lore that we don't often see, which is like literally what Black Dragon Gaming is all about. In any case, next week, guys, at least for right now, the patron combo breakers have subsided, so we'll plow on through and go again at Hestia. See you then.